I'm Doug Jessup.
And I'm Nisha Nagaring, and welcome to Family Heritage Stories, where we talk about what makes us. Things like traditions, values, and culture.
How are these things passed down from generation to generation? Through deeds, through words, and through stories.
What does a hero mean to you? To me, it's ordinary people doing extraordinary things. It's time for Hero Salute Stories.
Talan Summers was part of the Bear River football team that won the state championship in 2006.
Learn to work together and love each other and do the best you can and have fun while doing it.
Talan's most important team is his family.
He's just been a fighter ever since he was born. He was a 29.5 weeker. He was the first person in Utah to have surfactant, which is a new steroid that helps them develop their lungs. He had open heart surgery when he was 10 days old.
27-year-old Talan is fighting IgG4 systemic sclerosis disease that hardens the tissue from the inside out. There is no cure.
Basically, if you don't have a family support system with something like I have, you wouldn't last very long,
So what's your family motto?
Never give up. I am proud that I do fight. So many times I could have given up. Could have taken a different path, could have taken the short way out, and it's just not who I am.
One Wish Cache Valley granted Talan a wish with a team he admires.
They had a National Guard come up and do a flag ceremony here on my front yard with about 40 National Guardsmen, and at that time he just grabbed Talan's hand. He says, if I can help you out there, you got a lot of people here. And so we put him in his wheelchair and took him outside, and probably the highlight of his life.
Talan, what gives you hope?
The gospel, Jesus Christ. One day I'll feel whole again. Won't be suffering. That's what I look forward to.
I'm General Max Stitzer. I want to share with you the great honor that I've had to be associated with Doug Jessup, the Fedora Foundation, and Family Heritage Stories. It is so vital and essential that we remember, that we preserve, and that we teach our heritage and history. This program and the work that Doug and Fedora Foundation do is so vitally essential to remembering the heroes of this nation. They come in many forms. Some serve in uniform, and all across the different career fields and pursuits in life. We're surrounded by heroes. Well, one day, their time on this earth will pass. They must always be remembered and thanked for what they've done to give us the way of life that we have, to preserve what matters to us as a nation, as a people, as communities. It is so vital that we recognize and remember greatness and service in those who have served.
Have you ever wondered how an object becomes important enough to be passed down from generation to generation? Well, a little bit later in the show, we share one of our viewers' treasures remembered.
Hi, this is Doug Crockett with Your Legacy Story, and you're watching Family Heritage Stories.
There is something so special about the bond between a grandchild and grandparent. So how would you answer the question? Tell me about your grandma or grandpa.
So one of my favorite stories, and I hope a funny story is okay.
Oh, that's awesome.
But my grandpa Western was a musical guy. He played the trumpet. He was a singer. And when he went to college, he took an opera class. And so he had the opportunity to sing in an opera in college. And in the opera, his costume exposed his chest a little bit. And I've been told he was a very hairy man, right? And so throughout the course of the opera, he sang and wore his costume. After the show, a woman from the audience came down. And she didn't say a single word to him. She just walked right up and she took a hold of his chest hair and gave it a tug and said, "I've been wondering all night if that was real. I guess it is."
What was his name?
His name was Wayne Western.
What kind of traditions does your family have? Hi guys, with me today, Manuel Romero. So Manuel, thanks for coming on. What I wanted to talk to you about is heritage, because let's get real. Unless you're Native American, everybody came from somewhere. And for all I know, maybe you might have some Native American, but where do your people call home, if you will, going way back?
Way back, New Mexico,
Oh, really?
450 years back.
Okay, don't normally hear New Mexico it's in the U.S., by the way, okay, that New Mexico as old. But wow, okay, so there's got to be a story behind that.
Well, my family came here as subjects of the Spanish crown to settle the northern province of New Mexico
Wow.
in 1600,
Whoa.
and have been there ever since. And we were there, our family was there for 350 years before we moved to Utah
Wow. Yeah, well,
in the mid-1950s.
So where in New Mexico?
It's a little place called, well, we call it the Peñasco Village, which is made up of several villages.
Yes.
I was born in a little town called Rodarte, and that's where all of my brothers and my sisters were born, all 14 of us. And only 2, I believe, were born in a hospital. The rest, we were born at home.
Wow.
And
Your mom. Wow.
yeah. What a remarkable woman she was. So, as I said, and during the time that our family was there and conducting my research, I just discovered just how much they had to do with New Mexico history, with U.S. history. And from the various rebellions to the Mexican-American War, and so on, and they survived, and all the challenges that it had to that came with it. You have to remember, this is 200 years before the pioneers came west.
Exactly.
Okay, they were coming up north from first Mexico City up to Zacatecas and then into what is now Santa Fe. And for example, 4 of the 8 families that's founded Santa Fe were our ancestors.
So to me, if stories are not passed down from generation to generation, they're lost. And then those people are forgotten. You have 14 generations. Do your kids and grandkids know the story of those people?
They do now. They have.
Well done.
Many of them have read this and read it more than once and have told me just how proud they are. I didn't know this. I wish they would have taught me this in school. I'm so much more proud of who I am, where we come from. So it's been very inspiring in that way. And not just nephews and nieces and my daughter, but extended family. What's very interesting is after I finished this book and we put it on a website and we started having these little interviews, I was finding cousins I didn't know I had in Virginia, in Spain, in Florida.
Really?
And so that was very interesting because we have been able to reconnect, and so they are able to go to the website and get updates on what's going on with the book, or just in some cases other family events.
Well, I will say one of the things that I love about the fact that you're writing the book is, number one, you're right. There's a whole bunch of, how should we put this? History gets a little blurry and the quote unquote winners change things.
Correct.
To be able to get the real stories and have those passed down, number one, is extremely important to the culture. Number two, though, is I hope that you inspire other people to say, we need to write these things down because they are important.
Well, as you say, Doug, we all have a story.
Yeah.
And, are you willing to take the time to research it? And you'll find many of you, I firmly believe, will find treasures
Oh,
in
yeah.
your stories if you take the time, if you're curious.
With another entry in Family Heritage Stories and Manuel Romero, I'm Doug Jessup. We'll be right back.
Everyone has unique skills and interests. How did you get into your occupation?
Doug, the thing I like about your legacy story that's a little different than Family Heritage Stories, I mean, we do the ideas and examples, okay? And we'll have people come into the studio occasionally.
Yeah.
But the reason why we want to recommend you to people is because, bluntly, you do house calls, okay? You know? And so how do people set up an appointment? I mean, walk me through the process.
Absolutely. It's all handled online, as well as we talk to the people personally. They decide on what they want to do. The biggest piece, because they're not sure what to do, it's to tell your own personal life story is daunting. And so to write a book takes a long time. And so they just don't. But this way, they can talk about their stories and I can engage in the stories with them, but they start putting their stories together. When I was at this age of my life in school and high school and missions and when I got married and careers and what have you, from those pieces, they put them all together on our website. It walks them through the entire process. It's super easy. They go on there. Okay, what story do you want to tell about your elementary school? Put it all together. What story do you want to tell about high school, post-high school, college, etc.? And really a good thing to do with it is also not only do the parents think about stories they want to tell, but then their kids can say, oh, remember to talk about that one time.
Oh, yeah.
And they go ahead.
Well, you know, so basically you're saying you get them to do a pre-interview questionnaire.
Yes.
Okay, so that kind of helps alleviate that issue. And then you come to their house.
That's right.
About how long does the process usually take in the home?
Absolutely. It depends on which package they want to go to. So at the smaller package, like after your mission, that's an hour interview. And it works all the way up to our biggest package, our diamond package, which is the whole life story sketch. And that's a 2.5-hour interview. So we're at your house for about 3.5 hours. That's all the setup and takedown. And then we do the full-on interview. But then now we have everything. From all those pieces, we take it back, put it together. You add your family pictures, 50, 60 pictures, put it in there as B-roll, put the whole thing together, and then it becomes really a film-level documentary. And so it's something that they can watch and they can share it with everyone. Remember Grandpa used to do this? Where's that book at? It's right here. They're watching it on their phones.
And again, it's Doug Crockett. Okay, you know, Doug Jessup, Doug Crockett. Okay, you know, with a name like Doug, it's got to be good.
Yeah.
You know, and it's your legacy story. And surprise, surprise, the website is
yourlegacystory.com.
Wow. I mean, how surprising, right?
Right.
We'll be right back.
Part of Family Heritage Stories is passing on those experiences that the next generation might also be dealing with. How did you handle a hard struggle?
Hi, welcome back to tonight's episode of Utah Success Stories. I'm Krista Numbers, and I am joined by Linda Neuenschwander. She is the founder and creator of Bountiful Living magazine. Linda, thanks so much for being here with us tonight.
Thank you so much. It's good to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about you, and I'm excited to hear your story. Tell me, before we talk specifically about the magazine, tell us your journey up to this point. What have you done, and a little bit about you, and what led you to this point of wanting to start a magazine?
I graduated from the University of Utah in communications, and I was an editor for about 20 years. Also, about 15 of those years were spent as a German medical German to English translator. And this is just a new avenue for me, that I thought it would be a new way to exercise my editing, which I love and I'm very passionate about.
That's awesome. It sounds like you are a lover of words and language, and this just brings all of that passion and skills together.
Absolutely.
I love that. Now, I also understand part of your journey is that a few years ago, you went through a real health scare and health challenge. And I know from talking to you off camera that that has kind of helped shape where you're at in life now and the lens that you work through. Just tell us a little bit about that and what you've learned from that experience.
So about 5 years ago, I went in for a regular routine check with an ENT, or ear, nose, throat doctor, to ask about why I had a hoarse voice and a chronic cough, that I just didn't know why my hoarseness was getting worse. And he said he wanted to do a CT scan and get an overall view of my sinuses. And by the end of that day, I was being contacted by all kinds of doctors trying to get me back into the office because they realized that the CT scan had revealed that I had had a stroke. So
wow.
it had revealed, caught a portion of my brain that had revealed that I'd had a stroke. And I thought maybe it was just irregular heartbeats that had caused mini strokes, but the doctor said, no, this was a major full-blown stroke. And that the next step would be to check my heart. So I went in for an echocardiogram, and that also revealed that I had a hole in my heart.
Linda, I know that part of your journey after all of your accomplishments with your career was that you went through an unexpected health challenge. Tell me, after coming out of that and surviving, how has that really reframed things for you and the direction you're taking now?
So in that time when I did have a health challenge, we received a lot of community support and love from our neighbors and community. And so this is my way of giving back and kind of telling my community and my neighbors again just how much I love them, but also to help people find hope and joy and to be inspired again.
It really is all about community. And I love that you're instilling joy into the people who brought joy to you when you needed it.
Thank you.
That's fabulous. Okay, so on that vein, tell us a little bit more about the mission behind this magazine, Bountiful Living.
So it is a magazine that is sponsored solely by businesses that would like to build their brand and grow their business, but really to help them have a consistent community presence and to be seen everywhere that their ideal customers are looking, but also where that's both print and digital campaigns. But I definitely am just trying to bring hope and joy and inspiration to people because there's a lot of issues out there with mental health. And I think that people just need something to look forward to or to find inspiration in because there are so many things that can be negative.
Absolutely. So you will be providing a regular cadence of powerful stories of hope and love and joy and inspiration, like you said. What a great mission. How can people in the community and the surrounding communities really get involved and support what you're doing?
Absolutely. So you can become a sponsor of the magazine. If you own a business, you can sponsor at many different levels. We have something custom tailored to every business that we have something for everyone. From small packages all the way up to thousands of dollars per month. There's some at just a couple of $100s per month. So it really is just up to what the business needs are and the owners of the business. But then also you can contribute in the way of stories and submitting content for the magazine.
That's wonderful. So businesses of all shapes and sizes can become sponsors and be featured and, like you said, have a regular presence.
Yes.
And then people can contribute stories as well because everybody, as we know, has a story to share.
Yes.
Stories are powerful.
Absolutely.
Thank you for sharing your powerful story with us. How can people contact you to find out more about what you're doing and to become a sponsor?
Sure. And so you can find me on Instagram at bountiful.printanddigital or Facebook at Bountiful Utah Living Magazine, or you can email me at morethanmedia1@gmail.com.
Perfect. And all of that information will be on your screen as well. And we can follow you on the social medias to find out more and to follow your story and be part of the journey, whether we live in Bountiful or not. Everybody needs some hope in their lives.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. What a great story. With another episode of Utah Success Stories, this is Linda Neuenschwander. Thank you so much.
You're watching Family Heritage Stories with me and my grandpa. We'll be right back.
Just the mention of the word genealogy to your kids, and you'll probably see a room full of sighs and eye rolls. We probably would have done the same thing when we were kids. But as we got older and lost loved ones, genealogy started to mean more. Everyone says they wish they could have just 5 more minutes with their loved one, and researching their lives through old journals and faded photos is about as close as we could get. But in our fast-paced digital world, our kids don't seem to be interested in reading and researching their family history. Isn't it time for genealogy to catch up to their speed? That's where your legacy story can help. As a professional production company, we specialize in getting the entire family excited about genealogy by creating family history documentaries. Your family will love hearing Grandma and Grandpa's stories in their own voice for generations to come. Visit us today at yourlegacystory.com.
Up next, we're talking about culture.
Here, we take time together and brave the plunge into new waters. Here, we explore fresh territory. We try new things. We create lifelong memories and steer ourselves to brighter shores. Here, we can truly discover and see the world through different eyes. Here, it's easy to make new friends and learn how to soar. Here, our land of sky and water is yours too. Welcome to Box Elder County.
Objects with stories. Those are treasures remembered.
The GS on this saddle stands for George Summers. Well, back in the early 1930s, this gentleman would go to the coffee shop, and on his way home, he'd stop by a saddle shop in Garland and give what he could to get his special saddle. Some weeks it was 25, 50 cents. After 2 years of contributing for this saddle, he decided to tell his wife about it. Well, she was not thrilled, and she made him sell the saddle back to the maker. Fast forward 60 years, a gentleman by the name of Stan Summers was hauling propane in Collinston. When a Mr. Jensen came out, they started to talk. He asked his name and said, his name is Stan Summers. He said, come here, you need to check this out. So they walked into his tack shop and uncovered a saddle. It's more than a saddle, it was the saddle. And he had a silver gaucho on the back and uncovered this GS. Had an emotional moment there. Made him an offer of the saddle, and ended up that Stan gave it to his father a couple years before he died. And here's the fun part. That saddle, it went back into the barn that the grandfather built because it just happens to be the house that Stan Summers lives in. The saddle he never sat in, but the home his grandson lives in and appreciates it every day. Everyone has a story. Objects with stories are treasures remembered. Everyone has a story.
And sometimes those stories are told through music.
Life, you're going to get all kinds of advice. People are going to say that you need to stay in this little box. Well, Ashley and I were talking, and she has some great advice, that you need to take it with a grain of salt.
I thought that I could do it my way, but everyone around me's got something to say. And I'm tired of listening, trying to play the game, the game. I feel so disconnected, trying to do what they expecting. Why are they so invested? Maybe it's just them projecting, but they don't know me like I know me. No. Who said I gotta fit into a box? Who said I gotta do what you want? I hear a lot of words, a lot of talk. Blah, 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 yeah, I'll take it with a grain of salt. I know that you're just trying to help me, but what you're doing really isn't helping. All these opinions I hear overwhelm me, yeah. You give me your 2 cents, but this investment's more expensive. Where's your experience? Guess I'ma use my common sense, 'cause you don't know me like I know me, yeah. Who said I gotta fit into a box? Who said I gotta do what you want? I hear a lot of words, a lot of talk, blah, 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 yeah, I take it with a grain of salt. Listen, I got something to say, something to get off my chest, 'cause every time I open up my mouth to speak, they interrupt to tell me what to do next. But I don't wanna hear, I don't wanna know what you think of how you feel or anything at all. I wanna do me, think and live freely. Thanks for your time, but step aside, it's enough for me. All I really wanna do is sing, but every time that I do, it brings up strangers saying how to act. Be more of this and less of that. Trust me, I hear everything that they're saying, but I won't just fake it and do it their way. No, no. Who said I gotta fit into a box? Who said I gotta do what you want? I hear a lot of words, a lot of talk, blah, 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 yeah, I take it with a grain of salt. No, yeah, a lot of words, a lot of talk. Who said I gotta fit into a box? Who said I gotta do what you want? I hear a lot of words, a lot of talk. I'ma take it with a grain of salt.
Oh, those boys are much too much. Those boys are much too much. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We're going to beat them and bust them. Beat them.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life.
Let's get a little bit rowdy. R-O-W-D-Y.
Take time to be a dad
One more
today.
time. Oh, those boys are much too much. Those boys.
It's our honor to be able to help people remember where they came from.
If stories are not passed down from generation to generation, the stories are lost, and it's as though those people never existed.
So how do you want to be remembered? With another episode of Family Heritage Stories, I'm Nisha DeGaring.
And I'm Doug Jessup.
Everyone around me's got something to say, and I'm tired of listening, trying to play the game, the game. I feel so disconnected, trying to do what they expecting. Why are they so invested? Maybe it's just them projecting, but they don't know me like I know me.
Quack, quack.
No. Who said I gotta fit into a box? Who said I gotta do what you want? I hear a lot